Опа. Ёпта.
Да, здорово.
From long extinct wolf heads and World War soldiers to frozen foxes, puppies, and gators, here are things they found frozen in ice that surprised the whole world. The Ice Maiden. Considered the best preserved of all the Inca mummies in the Andes, Juanita is an incredible representation of what it meant to be an Incan sacrifice. She had been buried on the mountaintop, and were it not for a volcanic eruption, she would likely have not been found. The result of the volcanic activity caused the snowcap to melt, revealing her burial site and causing Juanita to fall out and effectively roll down the hill in her frozen state. For now, she is kept at the museum in a temperature-controlled facility. George Mallory. A legendary mountaineer from Great Britain, George Mallory was known among all in the 90s. He participated in every expedition to Mount Everest and loved doing so. But one fateful day, where he and his partner decided to go on their own, they never came back. For 70 years, their bodies were nowhere to be found. But in 1999, a search team went again to find them. Luckily, one of the men noticed a flat white rock lying nearby, and when he went up close, it turned out to be the bare back of Mallory. His body remained perfectly preserved even after so many years. However, his partner still couldn't be found. A soldier. Ernest G. Munn had been missing since his training fight disappeared over the Sierra Nevada mountain range on November 18, 1942. The remains of the aircraft were discovered, but even after a thorough search, there was no sign of Munn at all. But then in 2007, two hikers found the frozen remains of a man with blonde, wavy hair in a remote area. A tattered sweater still clung to the body, and an unopened parachute lay nearby. A miracle. Few days after the Indian Army declared all the 10 soldiers who went missing during an avalanche in Siachen had passed away, this video came out which shows something else. Miraculously, a soldier was found alive after being buried under the snow for 6 days. On February 3, 2016, soldiers were hit by an avalanche at an altitude of 19,600 feet. The alive soldier was rescued from under 25 feet of snow in temperatures that hovered above minus 40 degrees Celsius. Talk about miracles. A mummified body. In 2015, hikers discovered a mummified body on Pico de Orizaba's north side, 17,390 feet above sea level. One climber fell about 100 feet but stopped by nailing an axe in the snow, uncovering a skull in hand. Reina Espinoza Camargo, a local, believed it was her brother who vanished in 1958 during a mountain climb at age 17. He was presumed dead after an avalanche struck the group. Polar Princess. This mummy was of a woman who was about 35 years old, and the only woman buried among nearly 30 men. She belonged to a fascinating medieval civilization that focused on hunting and fishing in this polar region, but also had links to Persia. Researchers are confused as to why she's the only adult female discovered in the burial site, as they initially believed it was exclusively for men. A rescue. These horses got themselves stuck in a pretty icy situation, and the farmers did their best to help them get out of it. Stuck in freezing cold water after falling through the ice of a lake in Russia, the horses were really struggling to stay above water. And one by one, the farmers got all the horses out of the pond, and it took them minutes of struggling and doing what they could to make this rescue successful. Frozen fox. This sad fox is one of the many animals that were affected by the harsh weather in Germany and Europe. A hunter witnessed the fox falling into the icy Danube River and sadly drowning. Franz Stella, who runs a family hotel, actually retrieved the frozen fox from the ice and decided to display it outside. According to him, it's not uncommon for animals to accidentally break through the frozen river during winter, and this frozen fox serves as a chilling reminder of how harsh nature can be. A puppy. In eastern Siberia, this guy stumbled upon something amazing by accident. He was searching for tusks when he stumbled upon a frozen puppy. Like any regular person, he didn't think much of it, but he decided to let the authorities know. And when researchers arrived and examined the little pup, they discovered it was a whopping 18,000 years old. So yeah, it was definitely a valuable find, just not the kind the guy was expecting. The puppy was incredibly well preserved, with its fur, teeth, and everything intact, but we still don't know what caused its death. Alligator. If you're looking at a frozen pond, you wouldn't expect to see an alligator's snout sticking out. but when the weather gets cold, it's not uncommon to come across this sight. While some animals migrate south during the colder months, alligators have their own way of dealing with snow and ice. They poke their snouts out above the ice to keep breathing even when the pond freezes over. They can sense when ice is forming and position themselves so that it forms around their snout. That's how they manage to survive in the cold. Lion. Scientists in Russia discovered what they believe is the most well-preserved cave lion cub from 43,000 years ago. They named the cub Boris and estimated that he was only about a month old. If he had grown to adulthood, Boris would have been bigger than a lion we see today. The frozen landscapes of Russia have helped preserve many ancient animals. But as the climate changes and temperatures rise, more of the past is being revealed, and we get to see new discoveries like this one being made. Freaky frogs. When winter comes around, these frogs don't flee from the cold. Instead, they become ultimate survival masters unlike any other creature on the planet. These resilient little frogs freeze completely, but they don't become frog ice pops thanks to a clever trick they have. Their bodies create a special antifreeze that prevents ice crystals from forming and harming them. They can stay frozen for up to 7 months, essentially putting their body functions on hold, and yet they manage to survive even without eating for months. A bird. A sparrow had its wet feet frozen onto a water tank pipe and couldn't move or do anything. It was about to pass away considering the temperature if it were not for this man, who went to help her out. The old man held the sparrow in his hand and blew onto her feet to warm them and melt away the freezing ice. After a few seconds, he succeeded in doing so, leaving the little bird free to go wherever she wanted. Bison. Back in July 2011, an amazing discovery was made. They found a nearly intact bison. Now, scientists have taken a closer look and found something incredible. The mummy has a fully preserved brain, heart, blood vessels, and digestive system. It's the most complete frozen mummy of a steppe bison ever found in Siberia. They performed a necropsy to learn more about how this animal lived and died during the Ice Age. Surprisingly, it had a normal anatomy with no obvious cause of death. However, the lack of fat around its abdomen suggests it may have starved to death. Woolly rhino. Researchers in Siberia have stumbled upon the remains of a juvenile woolly rhinoceros that was trapped in permafrost. What's surprising is that this woolly rhino was found close to the site where the only known baby woolly rhino specimen named Sasha was discovered back in the year 2014. According to the experts, the rhino would have probably drowned in the river since the carcass was found in rather impressively preserved conditions. A mammoth. Ever wondered what life was like around 20,000 years ago? Well, check this out. There's this mammoth, right? Scientists called it the Yucca mammoth, and they found it frozen in Siberia. It's like a time capsule. They say it's one of the best preserved creatures ever discovered, even after 20,000 years. Can you believe it? Its fur, skin, and insides were all still intact. Nature can be mind-blowingly amazing, don't you think? Squirrel. This little squirrel was trying to get away from the cold, and in doing so, her tail got stuck in the trash can, and the poor little being got frozen, and her journey to life ended right there. Even though the man found the squirrel, it was of no use as the little thing had already passed away. A little cub. This little cougar was found shivering abandoned by its mother by a Russian man. It even felt so helpless that with the man so near, we see the cub only meowing for help. So after he was done filming the whole situation, the man did help the cub and took it to the authorities who took care of him. A battle to death. Is it even possible for two warm-blooded animals to freeze at the same time? The red fox shows signs of bleeding. Did it die before it could fall? Did the coyote freeze solid while trying to fight the fox? These are some of the questions which come to everyone's mind as they watch this video. However, not much was told about it. Moose. Two guys decided to take a stroll on the frozen sea close to their houses. They didn't expect anything out of the ordinary, but nature had a surprise in store for them. Guess what they stumbled upon? Two frozen moose. The coolest part is that their antlers were all tangled up together. That can only mean one thing. These two died while duking it out. Talk about an epic fight to the finish. Ice waves. What some people know as ice push or ice shove, the phenomenon is just remarkable. However, what this man did here was a little before we can call it ice shove. And that is how, when the man moved his boat like that, it resulted in the formation of ice waves. Frozen in time. These fish weren't exactly frozen in ice or something, but the way they stopped moving at all is enough to make us all trippy. The fact that we see one or two fish moving around assure us that others aren't dead or some fake ones in the aquarium. They were all very real, and it's very creepy to see how they all just decided to stop moving at the very same time. A fish. These two brothers were out ice fishing in Indiana, and guess what they found? They saw this block of ice with a fish chowing down on another fish inside. Can you believe it? They had to cut the ice and pull it out to get a better look. Turns out it was a pike munching on a bass. The brothers think the pike probably kicked the bucket while trying to gobble up the bass, and then they both ended up freezing together on the surface. Wild, huh? An Ice Age wolf. In 2020, a mammoth tusk hunter exploring the shores of the Teriktak River in Siberia's Yakutia region unearthed the fully intact head of a prehistoric wolf. Preserved by the region's permafrost, or permanently frozen ground, for some 32,000 years, the specimen is the first partial carcass of an adult Pleistocene steppe wolf, an extinct lineage distinct from modern wolves ever found. The wolf in question was fully grown, likely aged 2 to 4 years old, at the time of its death. Although photographs of the head still boasting clumps of fur, fangs, and a well-preserved snout indicates that it might be way larger than the modern-day wolves. Luolan Princess. The princess of the Xiaohe was actually a mummy, the preserved body of a woman who lived around 4,000 years ago. They discovered her burial site close to a salt lake in a desert in China, where the weather conditions were perfect for keeping even the smallest details intact, like her beautiful eyelashes. Her features were truly stunning, and her lips and teeth were remarkably well preserved. It seems like nature wanted to ensure her beauty lasted forever. Interestingly, the mummy was dressed in a tall white hat and had fur-lined boots, indicating that she wasn't an ordinary woman. However, what exactly happened to her still remains a mystery. A couple. Around 75 years ago, there was a Swiss couple who decided to head out of their house to have a good time playing ice hockey. However, they never returned. Their loved ones searched diligently, but there was no sign of them anywhere. Little did anyone know nature had different intentions. Fast forward 75 years, a man happened to visit the same location and stumbled upon their preserved bodies. The melting glacier had revealed the frozen partners from their long slumber. What a tragic ending it turned out to be. Otzi. Otzi is like one of the oldest and most well-preserved mummies ever discovered. He's from way back in 3300 BC, and nature did a pretty good job of keeping his body intact. But here's the really cool part. When scientists looked into his body, they found some wounds that made them think he was actually murdered. Crazy, right? But here's the catch. They still don't know why it happened. The reason behind his murder is still a big mystery. Inca Girl. In freezing areas, guess what they discovered? Way up in the sky at a crazy height of 22,000 feet, some researchers stumbled upon a frozen lady. And get this, she was surrounded by ancient tools like super old stuff from around 500 years ago. Now here's the thing that's got everyone scratching their heads. How on earth did she end up there? Was she some sort of sacrifice? And if she was, how come she looks so peaceful? The researchers say there's a chance she was already dead before ending up frozen. But hey, who knows for sure, right? What's your take on the whole situation? A dog. This poor dog drowned in the pond, and no matter how much others tried to get him out, he had already frozen into a huge block of ice within minutes. And yes, this is how scary nature can be when the time comes. You all should take care of your pets too. A cow. Winter storms are scary, but they become even scarier when poor animals get caught in them and are utterly helpless against the sheer force of nature. This cow met the same fate. When the storm arrived, it was far away from shelter, and with the temperature dropping rapidly, it froze completely before being able to reach anywhere safe. An alien. A few years back, there was this crazy video that went viral and shocked everyone. It wasn't just all over social media, but even the big news outlets were buzzing about it. The video showed this little creature that looked like an alien, and it was filmed by a guy in Siberia. Some people bought into it, while others remained skeptical. But honestly, when you watch the video, it doesn't seem fake or manipulated or anything. So there's a good chance that this alien-like being wasn't accustomed to the cold earth. and unfortunately met its end while searching for a warmer spot. A man. Back in November 2000, there was this dude named David Blaine who agreed to take on one seriously tough endurance challenge. He decided to encase himself in a gigantic block of ice right in the middle of Times Square for a whopping 63 hours, 42 minutes, and 15 seconds. Yep, he spent 3 whole days frozen solid before they finally got him out of there. Apparently, the whole experience messed with his head and caused him to have hallucinations and other strange problems. I mean, I still don't get why he felt the need to do something like that. A kitten. So picture this adorable little kitten who ended up stuck in the snow and nearly froze to death. Poor thing. Thank goodness a family stumbled upon it while they were out playing and quickly came to the rescue. They weren't even sure if the kitten was alive, but they did everything they could to save it. After some warm-up time and plenty of love and care, the kitty started showing signs of life again. The family took care of it, and now this little furball is a happy, healthy, fully grown cat living with them. A monster. You won't believe what this guy discovered frozen in the ice. It's not something you see every day, that's for sure. He stumbled upon a completely preserved monster, teeth and all, just chilling there staring right at him. But let me tell you, that thing was completely lifeless, frozen solid in the ice. It looked like it couldn't move a muscle. When this video made its way onto the internet, some people thought it had to be fake, while others were too shocked to even react. What do you guys think about this unbelievable find? Deers. These deer weren't exactly frozen solid, but they were trapped in ice, helpless and relying on someone else due to nature's mercy. Luckily, a man happened to pass by and saw these poor animals struggling for their lives. Although the younger ones initially fought, they eventually gave up when they realized the man was there to help them. It's really heartwarming to see such kindness in action. A car. This isn't just any ordinary car. It's the famous ice car that was completely frozen in New York. The owner had parked it at a restaurant overnight, and when he returned, he was shocked to find his car transformed into a gigantic popsicle. For those wondering, it was a Mitsubishi Lancer, and it took a tremendous effort to free the car from the icy prison. Itigilov. Lama Dorzo Itigilov died 89 years ago, and the remains of his cross-legged corpse are kept preserved behind glass in his museum. According to superstition, the Buddhist leader is actually not dead and thought to be in a heavy nirvana-like state. There is even some CCTV footage which shows the monk moving around. So, what's your take on this? A skeleton. While exploring the area with his friends, searching for hidden items buried beneath layers of ice, this man stumbled upon something unexpected. A human skeleton, or rather, a part of one. How it ended up there remains a mystery, and the video has sparked a lot of speculation. While some people think it's fake, we're interested in hearing your thoughts on the matter. A huge catch. Imagine Mars. Who would have imagined that a chunk of Mars would wind up in Antarctica? Back in 2012, scientists stumbled upon a 2,000-year-old space rock in a snowy part of our planet. They believe it originated from Mars and may have collided with Earth many millennia ago. This discovery has been a treasure trove of information for researchers, aiding in the study of Mars's geological structures. Currently, this extraordinary Martian rock is proudly on display in a museum, allowing the public to catch a glimpse of it. Thank you for watching the video till the end. Do like and share with your friends. See you in the next video.